the muscle off. And the reason why we do a cow eye dissection is because it's very similar to a human's eye. However, a cow eye is twice as big and it has 7 muscles instead of 6. So a human's eye has 6 muscles while a cow has 7. And the 7th muscle allows it to pull its eye back into its eye socket. So when it's grazing or eating grass, the sharp blades of grass won't cut the cornea, which is the front of the eye. The bluish circle you see.
Okay, I should post this video up on Facebook. This is like what's up with that.
So now that we're finished putting the fat and the muscle off, what I'm going to do now is make an incision in the cornea, which is just the front of the eye, like I said before. And let's see what comes out. So this dark liquid that just came out of the cow eye is called the aqueous humor. And it's just like the blood of the eye. It nourishes the cornea, so it gives it all the nutrients, so it helps it grow more layers and protect and make it stronger. So now, what I'm going to do now is make another incision in the sclera, which is just the white part, the side of the eye. And now I'm just going to cut the eye in half so we could check the inside eye. Humor, and it just gives our eye its shape, its round shape. So without it, our eye would be all flat, like you see it right now. And it's just made of water and protein. So if I squeeze it, it just turns to water, and it has protein in it. And the dark green that you saw around the lens, which is the small circle on my hand right now. So this is a muscle. It's called the ciliary muscle, and it just helps your eye focus more. So it squeezes our lens, so we can focus more. So this is a double convex lens. And this grows up to 1 or 2 layers per year. So now I'm just going to take some of the layers off and go to the core lens. And if I squeeze it, it's made of like a waxy material. So now that we're done with that, we'll head to the back of the eye. And what I'm going to do now is just show you the boogery looking thing in the back of the eye. And that's just the retina, which is connected to the blind spot of our eye. And the retina contains rods and cones, which allows us to see light, shape, and movement. So without the rods or cones, we wouldn't be able to see movement or light or shape. So the little circle that you see right here, that's the blind spot.
You know why? But also for the optic nerve, the nerve next like your eyeball to
That's the blind spot.
brain, like brain. spot is because that's the only place where like the optic nerve connects to your eyeball, and it's the only place where you can see.
But like she said, the blind spot is like, for example, we look at the wall right here, we don't see 20% of it, but our brain learns to fill in the rest of the information. So like she said before, the blind spot is connected to the optic nerve, and I'll get to that in a little bit. But does anyone have cats and dogs at home?
Yeah.
Yeah? So what do you notice about them in the night?
Their eyes look red and purple.
Yeah. So the reason why their eyes glow is because they have a turquoise tapetum, and it helps them to see in the dark. So cows are what we call twilight animals. They do most of their eating at dusk and dawn. So they need the turquoise tapetum so they could see in the dark. And the human back of the eye is not like that. It's all brown or black. So our eyes are just like that.
Okay, we on cow's eye?
Yeah.
See you later.
So like I said before, the optic nerve is connected to the blind spot. And that's how our brain gets the information, because the optic nerve is connected to our brain. So the information our eye collects goes through the cornea, all the way to the back of the eye, through the retina, which is the boogery looking thing I showed you guys, into the blind spot, through the optic nerve, and into our brain. Yeah.
Oh, you know like how our iris, right? Like yours is blue, and yours, you say looks like green, and mine's brown. The iris, you know how like the people, the black part, right? It's just a hole. So what you saw, like the black part, is just actually the back of like the torpedo.
Oh, that's the
Like
back.
ours is black, you just see the like the black side of it, and it just absorbs the light. And how like if there's a lot of light, your iris just gets like smaller.
Yeah.
Like like kind of contracting and making your pupil smaller, so that the light doesn't go like absorb as much. But when you're in the dark, you notice that your pupils like gets bigger, right? It's because it's trying to absorb more light.
And also, we'll get to that. You want to talk about that? Okay. So the optic nerve is just made of millions of fibers. So if I squeeze it, like a big pimple, the fibers you can see. And the reason why we can't have an eye transplant is because if you connect one of the fibers wrong, then we could go completely blind. So like she said before about the iris ring, which is just the ring I'm pulling off right now. You know how she said about our pupils getting bigger and smaller? Well, it's not actually our pupil, it's actually the iris ring, because this is a muscle. So the more light, like she said, the bigger it gets, so it makes our pupil look small. And the less light, the smaller it gets, so the bigger our pupil is. And when people talk about your color eyes, what they're really talking about is the iris ring. And this contains a pigment called melanin, and it gives us the color of our eyes and skin and hair color. So the less melanin you have, the darker your eyes or your skin or your hair is, and the less you have, the lighter. So if you guys pay close attention, can you tell me what you hear?
A crunching sound.
Yeah.
The cover.
So do you think any of these little cuts or incisions I just made went through the cornea?
No.
No? You're right. None of them went through, only the very first one I did. And that's how strong the cornea is.
Wow.
And that protects our eyes. So so you could see how thick it is. Our cornea is thick, but not as thick. And that's the cow eye dissection. Any questions?